First and foremost, what mercy means. So the Webster's definition is compassion or forgiveness shown towards someone whom it is within one's power to punish or harm. So we see God's mercy on us. We see him, obviously he has the power to punish or harm us, but he has mercy on us. He helps somebody out when they're miserable. The Latin roots literally mean cor, which is heart, and then miserable. So you have heart for the miserable is what mercy truly means at its roots. So we see God acting in mercy. I mean, St. Pope John Paul II, in his encyclical Rich in Mercy, he references the prodigal son as an example. And he basically, even though justice and mercy weren't used at any point through the parable, it's still this rich example of where this son was given his entire fortune. He went off and he squandered it, and then he found himself rolling with the swine and realized, oh my goodness, like I need to go back. I can't do this anymore. And his father didn't disown him when he saw him coming up the road. He ran out to him and he greeted him, and they slaughtered the fattened calf. They took care of him. They threw a party because what was lost is now found. And so the father had mercy on his son. Instead of saying, hey, you know what you asked for, like you got your fortune, you went and wasted it, good luck, It wasn't like that. He had mercy on his son just as God the Father has mercy on us. So in the Catholic Church, we understand different acts of mercy. We have the corporal acts of mercy and the spiritual acts of mercy. And all of these stem from Matthew 25, verses 31 through 46, where Christ actually talks about, do these things or you will be punished with eternal damnation. So we have the corporal acts of mercy. They focus more on the material and the physical well-being of somebody. So these include feeding the hungry, giving drink to the thirsty, clothing the naked, sheltering the homeless, visiting the sick, visiting the imprisoned, and burying the dead. So in Hebrews 13 verse 3, it actually says to visit the imprisoned as if you are imprisoned yourself, because we are all of one body. So we're instructed then that we're actually supposed to be living out these callings, that we're not just supposed to say, oh yeah, Jesus died on the cross and I'm good. We have to go out and actually demonstrate this mercy to others so that they can see what it is that God is having on us too, because although we're on our journey to holiness, we're not quite there, and we have to continue to seek God and demonstrate God in order to reap what he truly has for us, the best that he wants for us. So, in the United States, it's not super common that you would walk down the street and see somebody laying naked on the side of the road. But donating clothes that are actually decent to Goodwill, or, just donating clothes in general, or donating food. There are so many opportunities to do these corporal acts of mercy that don't necessarily, I'm Flint, Michigan. I'm from Michigan. So they just had a huge water crisis where all of these people got really, really sick because of the levels of lead. So supporting clean water for people, that's giving drink to the thirsty. So outside of the corporal acts of mercy, which are more for the material and physical well-being, we also have the spiritual acts of mercy, which are more for the emotional and spiritual well-being of people. So these include counseling the doubtful, instructing the ignorant, admonishing sinners or confronting sinners on what they're doing wrong, comforting the afflicted, forgiving offensive, bearing wrongs patiently, and praying for the living and the dead. So we have all these spiritual acts of mercy too, which aren't always the easiest. Sometimes when I'm talking to someone, I'm like, I don't have the wisdom to give you advice on this particular topic. So what we need to do in those situations is be prepared. The Chaplet of Divine Mercy is something that St. Faustina had come to her in a vision in 1935. And although the rosary was founded back in the 1200s, this actually uses the rosary beads only with a different prayer. So instead of praying the decades, the 10 Hail Marys for each mystery, there's a different prayer that says, for the sake of his sorrowful passion, have mercy on us and on the whole world. So there are opening prayers, and obviously all of the different beads have different meanings behind them. And the opening prayers are typically prayed, you can pray them at 3 o'clock a.m. or p.m., and that basically, it symbolizes the hour that Christ had died, and that's considered the hour of divine mercy. And so we can do that, and in praying this Chaplet of Divine Mercy, we are then granted a grace to be able to demonstrate mercy in a way that we wouldn't be able to without God's intercession, without his help. So Googling Chaplet of Divine Mercy or Divine Mercy Chaplet, those prayers are all going to come up, and there are plenty of instructional videos on how exactly to pray it, and I would encourage you to look that up and give it a shot. I mean, it's something that, when we meditate on those types of words, I know for me, it's like negative self-talk and positive self-talk. If you tell yourself that you're no good and everything else day in and day out, you're going to start to feel that way. If you tell yourself you're wonderful and you're going somewhere and you're confident, those types of things are going to come forward. So when we meditate on these types of words, that's what's going to come forward. For the sake of his sorrowful passion, have mercy on us and on the whole world. And through that, God will intercede. He's going to step in, and it genuinely and truly helps in order to be able to exemplify all of these corporal and spiritual acts of mercy that we can't do on our own, because we are human, and we do need something outside of ourselves to pull us toward God and pull us into eternity. So I hope that all of this is helpful and encouraging for all of you. I know I definitely needed to look into this. I hadn't done a whole lot of research in the past on all of the different corporal and spiritual acts of mercy, and I'm really excited to be able to have this information and just go forward and do it. So if you have any personal experience with the Chaplet of the Divine Mercy, please feel free to share. I would love the interaction, and I will look forward to chatting with you guys in the comments and seeing you guys again next week. Have a blessed Sunday.